Ma'am, Bhuvaneshwari ma'am. Bhuvaneshwari ma'am, are you?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, thank you, ma'am. Ma'am, what I share பண்ணி பார்த்துடலாம் உங்க ஸ்கிரீனை.
Okay, sir. Okay, sir.
இதுக்கப்புறம் நான் என்ன பண்றேன்னா இந்த ஸ்கிரீன் உங்கள்ட்ட இருக்கான்னு பாருங்க. அப்படியே நான் போட்டுட்டு இது பண்ணிக்கோ. நீங்க உங்கள்ட்ட இருந்தா டிஸ்பிளே பண்ணிக்கோங்க. இந்த PDF. ஓகே. இல்லைன்னா நான் பண்ணிட்டு நான் ஷேர் பண்ண சொல்லப்ப நீங்க ஷேர் பண்ணாட ஓகே. ரெடியா இருந்தாலும் ஓகே தான். whatever it is. நீ உடனே ஷேர் பண்ணி பாருங்க. நான் ஸ்டாப் பண்ணிக்கிறேன்.
Okay, sir.
ப்ளீஸ்.
Okay, sir. 1 minute, sir. Sir, whether the screen.
Yeah, ma'am, perfect. No problem.
Okay, sir.
அதுக்கப்புறம் நீங்க PPT மூவ் பண்ணிக்கலாம். No problem. Okay.
Okay, sir. Okay, sir.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, sir.
We'll wait for some time and then we'll start by 6 o'clock.
Okay, sir. Sure.
As US மக்கள் அவங்க ஜாயின் பண்ணுவாங்க. Okay.
Okay, sir.
உங்க ஸ்டூடண்ட் சொல்லிருக்கீங்களா மேம் கொஞ்சம் PG ஸ்டூடண்ட்ஸ்?
சொல்லிருக்கேன் சார். PG ஸ்டூடண்ட் சொல்லிருக்கேன் சார்.
Just remind போட்டு வாட்ஸ்அப் போடுங்க. Thank you.
Okay, sir.
Students, kindly change your name, participant name as your register number underscore your name, the caps, because we are trying for certificate also, but not yet decided. But hopefully, okay, that time your name is very much needed. Okay, so kindly change your name as participant name as your register number. For example, 20 MCB 1008 underscore your name. Your name should be in caps without any spelling. Spelling here, right? Kindly change it, students, please. Suppose if you are a research scholar, kindly mention your register number, right? PhD registration number underscore your name. Kindly change it, please. Both the scholars as well as students. Students, please make a note of this. Kindly change your participant name as your register number underscore your name. Name should be in caps. Kindly change it, please. If you are a scholar also, do the same. Yeah, thank you. Even tell your friends also, right? Even you just put it in the chat box also. So 6 o'clock we'll be starting. Okay, we are waiting for the other partner, right, from Binghamton University. Hope they will also join. So they'll join by 6 o'clock probably. So wait for some time. Students, kindly follow the same format. Register number first, underscore your name. Register number first and then underscore your name. Yes, good evening, Mink. How are you? Yeah,
Yes,
how are you?
yeah. Good evening there.
Yeah, good. Yeah, for you, good morning, right? Oh,
Yeah.
nice to see you once again.
Nice to see you. Yeah.
Thank you for joining.
Oh, thank you for like organizing this, and yeah, I know you put in a lot of time, effort.
Yeah, second version we started, right?
Uh-huh.
Successfully, we started the second version.
Yes, yeah.
So our speaker also ready, and then slowly the students are joining. We'll wait for another few more minutes. Okay, sir?
Sure, of course. Yeah.
Thank you.
I would just be listening. Yeah.
Yeah. How is your situation there?
It's getting somewhat better overall. I think more and more people are getting vaccinated.
You put your
Yeah,
vaccination, sir?
I had my first shot of Moderna,
Ah,
but I will have to wait for 28 days
yes,
for my
for the second
before I
dose.
can have the second shot.
So here also slowly vaccinated. Okay. Hopefully everyone of more than 60 years old and then more than 45 years old. The two criteria they have announced, the government announced.
Yeah, yes, I think that's when New York State lowered the age of eligibility to 60. You know, that's why I qualified to get my shots. And then I think from tomorrow, I believe that New York State will allow all the state employees to be vaccinated. So they'll become eligible. So all Binghamton University, like faculty and staff, they'll become eligible tomorrow.
Okay.
So more and more people will be getting shot. Yeah.
So along with us, I just introduced Dr. Bhuvaneshwari, who is a speaker today. She is also joined.
Great.
Yeah, how are you, sir?
Good. Good evening there.
Good evening, sir. Good morning there.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay, sir.
So last time we had a 7 section, this time 5. Okay. So that's what I told Dr. Mark. Next time we can give more speakers from, we can expect more from Binghamton.
Yeah, sure. Yeah. It's just like it's, the time is not very good for us. I think right now it's too early for most people.
Now it is 8:30, right? 8:30.
Yeah, it's 8:30, right? I think, especially for students, I think they normally, even for our earning classes, students, hate earning classes. I don't mind actually. I normally teach in the morning, like 8:30 is my teaching time.
Oh, that's what Dr. Mark mentioned, right? You have a
I
earlier.
teach on Tuesdays and Thursdays. Yeah, Wednesday is fine.
So what subjects, sir, now you are teaching?
I teach database systems.
Okay, distributor. Okay, fine.
Yeah, database systems.
Database system. Fine, sir. Fine. I just now I completed my class. My class is from 4:45 to 5:35. Just I completed.
Oh yeah, it just finished.
Yeah, just finished.
Right, just finished.
Still I'm in university only.
I see.
After completing this, slowly I have to leave. So you came to university, sir?
Pardon me?
Yeah.
Oh, no, I'm working from home right now.
Oh, you are okay. Oh, but we are in
I'm
university.
working from home. Yeah.
We are
Right
working.
now, everything is online. I think so. Hopefully by the fall, I think the fourth semester we'll get back to normal.
Okay. So we are working as a faculty and then staff members and all working from university, but students are attending the classes in their home, at their home.
Right. Yeah, we have some like in-person classes, but most classes are like online and remote. We are using Zoom, to teach.
Yeah. Here we are using Teams.
Right.
MS Teams. Okay, sir. We have already 27 participants there. I think slowly we can start, sir.
Okay, sure. Yeah.
Yeah, please. Okay. Good evening and good morning. One and all present here. Today we are here for our second version of joint webinar series on data analytics. Actually, last time we had a 7 section. We have conducted the same first version, but in the theme AI and machine learning. But this time we are going to start with data analytics. Our first speaker is from VAD Chennai, Dr. Bhuvaneshwari A. Assistant Professor, Senior Grade, School of Computer Science and Engineering. She is going to present her section in the title named Locations, Connecting the Dots, Location-Based Crisis Event Detections Using Online Social Networks. Over to you, ma'am. Thank you.
Yes, hello everyone. Thanks for joining this webinar. So let me start with the session, connecting the dots using location-based crisis event detection using online social network. That's going to be the topic for the day. So with the presentation agenda for today, we'll start with the crisis informatics using online social network, and we will move with the motivation and research challenges, and we will discuss about certain frameworks that will help us to detect the events from microblogs and crowdsourced photos, and information entropy based event detection framework with certain results and discussions that we have implemented during the research work, and with future research directions. So the introduction to online social network, as we all know, we are making use of certain online social networking services like Facebook, Twitter, Weibo from various sources. And the main use of having this online social network is it is easy for us to share the information because of its openness and easiness of availability. And then this crisis informatics, which we can look from the online social network, will help to address certain socio-technical event detection, that too mainly during this large-scale emergency response time. So whenever we are going to deal with certain information and communication technologies, ICT tools, these online social network will act as a bridge between the technology and the citizens of around the globe to connect with each other in order to discuss about the events. The events here I'm referring to certain abnormal event like a crisis event like earthquake, like tsunami, or some flood or landslide. Such crisis events, how it can be detected via online social network, and how such events can be handled through the emergency informatics people, so that the people who are going to get affected due to those crisis events are going to get a recovery, and how their activities can be tracked to recover them from the crisis. That is going to be the main objective of the webinar. So as I have told before regarding online social network, we have several sources that will give us a verifiable data and trust factor through certain services like microblogging, web forums, and specific location-based services like Foursquare, Facebook check-ins, and then certain blogs that will help us to share the content. Even we can share the multimedia files through Flickr, Instagram, YouTube, and we have several online social network services that helps us to share the information from the public. As we are going to contribute there, and that particular information is going to be taken as input, and it is going to get processed to detect the events. So, what is the motivation that help us to go beyond behind this online social network that to detecting the event is we have several openness towards our data, because example, Twitter is providing open data that will help to um, the public to contribute their information, and they can volunteer themselves whenever there is a crisis event has been done. So the usability is going to be the main factor that drives us to go behind this event detection using online social network. That too, we have certain geographical information science systems that will help us to volunteer over this geographic information, like crowdsourcing. So as a public users, we are going to be the crowdsourcing. We are going to provide the crowdsourcing information regarding the event that will help the emergency response coordinators to take a step ahead towards the recovery. And then the citizen sensing is another key factor that will help us to detect the events during the crisis time. The two, this particular volunteering activity is here referred to as digital volunteering. So as a citizen, we are having the ability to log in into certain online social networking sites like Twitter, Facebook, and Weibo, like to report the events, and we can express the opinions, and we are having the ability to share the information throughout the world regarding an event that happened locally, so that in case of any response that can be obtained from the people around the globe, can immediately we can post the information, and immediately there can be certain reaction from the users that will make the next level of emergency response team to make a recovery step. And then crowdsourcing and crisis mapping is another vital technique that will help the event detection, emergency response people to detect where the event has happened, and how the machine computing, that is like machine learning algorithms that will help them to detect where that particular crisis event has occurred, so that using these crowdsourcing information that is generated by the public via Twitter, Facebook, like that, they are going to where this online social network is having the ability to construct a geographically located map, like a crisis mapping through crowd sourcing, in order to take ahead to higher level of analytics towards the recovery from that particular crisis events. So this is an example of Shahidi, which has have this map for Haiti to detect and to map where that particular disaster event has actually happened. Okay, So if they have classified the entire event into certain classifications that will help them to notice whether that particular post that that is posted by the particular people who got affected, who is a victim of the particular crisis event, whether it is an emergency event or whether it is a threat, whether it is going to be a vital line, whether there is a response that happened because of that particular Twitter post, or whether it is a news of a survivor, whether there is a need for medical emergency or any need for food from the particular area which got affected due to a crisis or even a disaster. So that's how this crisis mapping through geographical information science will drive us to the next level of um, recovering from the event. And even it will allows us to detect the event, and then you can track the event, and later on you can make the particular event to get recovered through the response team. So for event detection, what is the source of data that will help us to do the machine learning component? Because we have certain tweets that may come around from Twitter or from other sources that is publicly available. But how we can classify these events, how we can find whether the particular event or particular tweet that comes under vital lines or response, whether it is a medical emergency or whether there is a need for food for that particular in order to track that particular disaster. So we need some data which has to be trained ahead before we are able to classifying the tweets. For such activity, um, we are in need of depending upon this linked open data. This is actually a linked open data is actually a cloud that will helps us to crawl the data that has been available in as a RDF standards or linked RDF that will helps to determine the topic over which a particular tweet or that particular post has been posted. So a very famous linked open data is DBpedia, and GeoNames is actually another linked open data. DBpedia is actually a plugin for Wikipedia that will helps us to determine the semantic version of on which topic that particular tweet has been arrived to us. That can be determined using this. For example, if I am posting a tweet in Twitter like there is a landslide in a particular area. Okay, for example, I'm saying the area is going to be like Chennai. So from that, it will identify this particular tweet is regarding a particular disaster, and the location, how we can extract the location of the event. So here the main objective is we have to identify the event. Here it is like a crisis event. We have to determine the location of the event also in order to track the event, and we have to make some response over there. So how the event location can be detected? For that, we have this GeoNames API. So what this API will do is it will extract the location from the tweet or whatever the document that we are giving, and it has the ability to do the geo parsing and geocoding. So what it will do, it will extract the term Chennai. So Chennai is from Tamil Nadu. So for in India, a particular um, location can be identified, and its latitude and longitude can be detected from there. So geocoding and geopassing will be happening over there in order to map the crisis into certain crisis mapper. So this web of data will be acting as another key factor that will helps us to train our data with all the history of disasters and crises that happened in the past in order to identify a new disaster. For example, if a particular disaster has been occurred recently, okay, so it will be the continuation of the previous disaster. Okay, so the type of events can be determined using this training data from the linked open data. So the research challenges that usually you'll have whenever we are having this crisis informatics is scalability of the information will be very high, because on the stream when we are looking into Twitter or Facebook, the stream is going to handle, it is going to generate, as a public, we are generating very huge volume of information, but picking up and detecting a meaningful event, okay, such type of detection is very, very tedious process whenever your data is moving, because we will say it as a stream of data. So identifying some meaningful pattern from a very huge volume of data, and on the go, the data is going to be on the string, and we have to identify such event is going to be a very, very tedious process. And also how that information is spreading across the people around the using this online social network, such activity of tracking how the information is getting spreaded over this social networking stream is also another typical challenge that we face. And also heterogeneous data aggregation. We can't expect always a text data or certain nominal data will be coming. There is a possibility for a variety of data, because we are posting some images in Facebook, we are posting several multimedia data into the Facebook. So aggregating all such data along with text data, it is another research challenge. And performing this entire event detection, the two during certain during this during the crisis events on real time is another challenge that we face whenever we are doing with this crisis informatics. So let me give you a small case study that we have done using this emergency informatics during 2015, when we are in our country, when we are seeing when we are facing this flood in our area to Chennai. So it was actually been a heavy rainfall during that particular period over 2015 in November and December. And in social media, people have been consistently, they are continuously, they are tweeting regarding that particular flood using a hashtag which that was generally used here as hash Chennai rains. So we have collected those information using Twitter in order to identify what are all the types of tweets that has been posted during that particular flood time, and using the hashtags that we have that has been most familiar, the top 10 hashtags has been taken. And like Chennai rains help, Chennai volunteer, Chennai rescue, these are all some hashtags which have been acting as a vital parameter that helps us to detect the event and to collect the tweets regarding this Chennai floods, and to classify those tweets. So what we have during this experimentation, we have found that using this Chennai rains, and we have included this particular hashtag also, hash Chennai floods. So the actual period where the flood has happened, and it was taking a strong peak over this particular time period, like from 29, 30 November and December 2, 3, 4, 5. So these are all the weeks. These are all the days where the flood was taking its uh, its it, it has been very, very high. The flood was taking a next phase. So we have collected certain tweets, and what the total number of tweets that we collected was nearly about 29K mentions we have taken for our during the collection, and number of tweets and number of tweets per hour was increasing day by day. So with this, what we have classified for making a situational awareness over these tweets is, we have classified here to determine the caution and advices that we will usually even the government will give certain caution regarding a flood event, and when the particular flood will be getting over. So all the information has been collected over here, and it has been classified into certain classification classes like caution and advice, information sources, damage and casualties, and donations. And here when it comes to another way of classification for health, water supply, and then water, and then food supply, and need for shelter, and need for logistics, that will help the that we want Chennai people around in our area, so that they will get the help from other people around the state. So for this information classification, which helps us to turn into the situational awareness. So here the main problem that we have faced is, what was the request and what was the offer. We are using this Twitter, how we can map it. So identifying such requests and matching the demand was another difficult thing. So what we have done is, we have classified the tweets, and for each classification we have extracted the location from where the request has been arised, and we will match it with another offer that will be matching from the person who is having the ability to supply through logistics to that particular area. Such request and demand has been offered, and it has been mapped over here. And when we are trying to classify the tweets using the data set we have collected using this flood at Chennai, we have found the accuracy used by implementing certain machine learning algorithms using naive-Bayes, SVM, and CNN classifiers. And we have found that the accuracy, here we have classified it as whether the tweet is relevant to flood or not, that we have identified over here. Using SVM, we have classified the tweets as like food, and then what is the logistics required, and then who are the people who need immediate medical attention, like that we have classified using SVM classifier. And using CNN, convolution neural network, we have classified into 3 classes, like whether there is a caution is required, whether this medical emergency is required, and then the shelter. So using these classification algorithm, we have found that CNN has given a better accuracy in classifying the tweets for situational awareness. And later, in this, using the same tweets, we have applied the DB-scan clustering algorithm as well. So this DB-scan algorithm mainly has been driving using the location of the radius. So from which particular location a particular request has been arised, that has been taken into consideration, and what are all the people, what are the neighboring points that will helps us to determine the particular event that was taken into consideration, and how similar users can be identified, because people who may have similar requirement during a crisis can be clustered together, so that the service or the logistics can be arrived to them in a single stretch. In order to confine that particular need, we have used the cosine similarity in order to find the similar tweets and the users who need similar requirements. They have been attended at one stretch. So here in the event detection framework, we have applied this DB-scan clustering algorithm. First, we have collected the data from Twitter, and we have aggregated the tweet. We have done the pre-processing by making use of NLP, and then we have collected the tweets have been collected, and the photos which have been posted along with the tweet has been taken as input, and this vital information, this location and time is very, very important. Why we are going for this time parameter is because whenever there is a need or some post has been posted in Twitter, the immediate response has to be handled, or in certain cases some requirements might be fulfilled by some volunteers around the particular area. So this time has been a vital parameter. So if the particular tweet has been posted, if it is resolved on the same day, that particular tweet will be closed from the current request bucket. So in such way that if the particular need is not being resolved for a very long time, so in the bucket list it will be on the top of it, so that it will be acting as a main. It will be on the first list in order to make a priority over that particular tweet. So we have applied this DB-scan algorithm, and we have detected, and the event has been detected. So when in the process of pre-processing, we have done this stop word removal, because whenever people are posting the tweet, we can't expect everyone to post in the same way. So at that cases, we have removed the stop words, and suffix has been removed, and then stemming, tokenization, n-gram corpus generation. These are all some common pre-processing algorithms which will help us to do the pre-processing. So in when we are focusing on DBScan algorithm, we have made use of this make use of the thresholds in order to find the tweet time, and then tweet location, and then photo tags, and then the location which has been associated along with the photo. Because few people will have the practice to add the location information along with their tweets. So using those information, we have developed this we have implemented this DBScan algorithm in order to predict the distance. And using the initial points, we have grouped the adjacent neighbors along the clusters, so that we can cluster the similar tweets together in order to consolidate to make a single make it as a single need. And there will be a single logistics that will help them to cover their requirements. So in this, along with this DBScan algorithm, the main challenge that we face in this research is detecting the event, how how a particular location can be predicted. Because whenever there is a disaster, the victim of the disaster may not have mobile phones. In some places the connectivity might be lost. In some places they won't even have a proper stable network connectivity. So this was the problem. But how we can expect those people to tweet? How those people will initiate some posting in Twitter or Facebook? How we can expect them to start, and how we can detect their precise location? Because the problem with the online social network is everyone will post their opinions, post some issues regarding everything, but no one will reveal their own identity, and they won't reveal their location. So detecting such the two during this crisis event detection, in this research, identifying the location of the user or identifying the location of the disaster is going to be a bottleneck issue. So so here we are going for a prediction method instead of straightly going for a detection method. So the prediction method here will suggest for detecting the event is first is going to be a random method. So we will select a list of tweets from the regarding that particular event, and if there is a high similarity between the user's location and the information is regarding a particular event, then it will be confirmed as the event location. That is the random method. And we have approached with this trivial method. So if there is a frequent location which is associated with the tweets among the group of people from the same location, then we'll go for the particular event location that we can predict over there. The next useful event location prediction method is convex hull onion peeling method. So we will first compute a small convex hull using a finite set of points in a given geographic plane, and we will remove all the geographic locations on the convex hull. Okay, if there are still certain hull is going to have certain points, then we will confirm that points as the event points. And later on, once we are repeating this convex hull construction, iterating the same construction of convex hulls, at one point this particular algorithm will come up with a geometric object that will help to create a small polygon or a line or a simple point that will help us to detect exactly where that particular event location, that crisis event has occurred. So all the remaining points can be discarded, so that this geographic object that is available, that is remaining around this convex hull, will be taken as a location of an event. And later, when we are going with some other techniques like K-centered clustering, this is another famous clustering algorithm. Here, when we are getting into this location of interest where the event has occurred, we will randomly pick up certain geographic location which is predicted to be the direct location of the event, and we will assume it as a center of the cluster, and we will iterate it throughout the geographical location where no other geographic locations can be found that is left around. So such clustering boundary can be here we can identify it as a geographic location where the event has occurred. So with this evaluation, with this location prediction methods, we have evaluated these location prediction methods using certain validation methods like average error detection distance, and then average accuracy within n miles. So how accurately we are able to predict the location around the event. Okay, so the around the event is going to be we will have a tolerance value around this, but still we will have the actual location with certain accuracy around 30 miles or 60 miles or 90 miles. We will have certain thresholds that will help us to act as like a radar to detect the event from the location of interest where the event is predicted to happen. So when we are doing this particular prediction method, we have applied this over 1,500 tweets that comes up with the geographical information like latitude and longitude information has to be there, or otherwise the information about the location has to be there in the tweet. So either these two information, any one that comes first will be considered, and we have filtered out nearly 1,500 tweets that are valid to have the location of the user. So when we're applying over this with several methods that we have discussed previously, like a random method, trivial method, and then convex onion peeling method, and K-center clustering method, whenever we are increasing this uh, increasing the accuracy with n miles, it is found that the accuracy of detecting the location of the event is having the highest, it's improving over with the miles. The reason why is because when we are having it like a radar, the miles, that is 30 miles, 60 miles, 90 miles, it will be acting like a radar, so that when we are consolidating all the tweets from that particular location around 30 miles or 60 miles or 90 miles, we can expect more number of tweets to occur at that particular distance, so that we can confirm the event location, and the accuracy of detecting the location will be also increasing abruptly. So here this when we are looking into the numerical results that we got using this accuracy, we have found that when we are looking into unambiguous location references, with this accuracy keep on getting increasing over uh, with the miles. When we are looking into those values with the randomness and trivial method, we can see this K-center clustering and this convex onion peeling method is giving some better accuracy when we are comparing with the accuracy with 0 mile. So because we cannot predict the location of the particular event abruptly, we can't blindly, we can't come to certain conclusion with 0 mile, because it is trivial in nature. So when we are looking into this accuracy with certain miles, when we are considering when we are covering most of the area, it will help us to detect the event accuracy up to 83%. When there is the accuracy, when the accuracy is being up to the 90 miles with all the location references inside these 1,500 tweets. And then effect of time is also playing a vital role here in location detection, because whenever an event has been detected, we can expect the people or public who are available in the particular location will start posting the tweet, or they will be making use of certain online social networking services to share the incident. So we can't expect immediately an event's location can be detected, but on the when the time passes, when the event has been detected, after certain minutes, we can see this particular accuracy of these location prediction algorithm works very it is working very nicely when it comes when the time has been incremented. So over this, in the first 5 minutes, we can see only 56% accuracy is there. And when it comes to when the time has been reached about 25 minutes, it has been giving a better accuracy to detect the detection of the location. So time is also another important parameter that help to detect the event. And another important thing is how much percentage that the users have been using the location as a parameter inside their tweets is also an important thing. So over the time the people are making use of these location parameter that will help to get the information about the location to detect the event. So maximum we can get is 81% from the location detail we are getting when there is a effect of time has been considered into the experimentation. And then when we are looking into the accuracy point of with this DB-scan algorithm, it is found that only with text data detecting an event will compared with the event detection using image data set. And when we are combining this text data and image data, when we are applying using this microblog DB-scan algorithm, the rate of accuracy, the detection rate accuracy is going to be very high when we are comparing with this simple text data and image data. So the next important implement research that will help us to discuss about this event detection is detecting an event in a batch processing. As a batch processing, if we are doing it in HDFS, Hadoop, or any other querying methods like Hive, when we are making use of that, when we are comparing the time at which an event can be confirmed using such batch processing, it lags when compares with the streaming tools. So here during the implementation, here in this research work, we have seen like event detection rate. We have implemented this clustering and classification algorithm by making use of using the Apache Spark ML environment. Using the machine learning component of Apache Spark, we have developed this event detection framework. So when we are comparing the time at which an event has been triggered, an event has happened in a particular time, in real time. I'm saying it in a real time, an event has happened. We have a automated data collection center that will keep on collecting the tweets whenever a particular event is about to happen, or if it is predicted to happen. So for that, we have a set of library of corpus, or a library of keywords that will help us to predict that particular event has happened. So when we are comparing the time at which the event has happened, so we are collecting the event. So even though there will be a scheduling delay and there will be a time latency, some reasonable time latency in collecting the data and pre-processing the data, and then we are going to confirm the event has happened. So using Apache Spark streaming environment, we have collected the data and the time interval about which the event has started, and the time at which you can confirm a particular event, like a disaster event like a landslide, earthquake, depending upon the keywords that has been used in the data collection center, we can confirm the event over here, nearly 192 millisecond. So when looking into certain state of what method, this is one of state of what method that detect the event during crisis events. They have made use of Hadoop MapReduce algorithm, but here in case of our event detection, in this event detection framework, we run this algorithm for for classifying the tweets and detecting the tweets. But we run this on Apache Spark Streaming. We can confirm the event much more earlier than other state of art methods. So when we are scheduling this particular event detection processing as 2 minutes after 4 and 6, so we can the time at which the processing time for the event to get started and the event confirmation time, okay, the time at which the event can be confirmed is normally it has been very quickly we can detect the event, so that the next level of tracking the event and recovering and the response team has to do the do the reactive proactive work over there, can be initiated using these event detection framework. So this is the scheduling delay that we found during this during running this in the Apache Spark streaming environment. And nominally there was a scheduling delay in some milliseconds over the period from for 10 minutes for 10 minutes we have calculated over here, and the scheduling delay has been calculated. And with this DB-scan clustering algorithm, with the results, we can discuss the naive-Bayes SVM and CNN we have used here to determine the accuracy of the classification. And when we are implementing and when we are experimenting over Apache Spark streaming environment, it is found that it detects the event very accurately and with minimal scheduling delay and time latency over the event confirmation time. So another important event detection framework that I would like to discuss over here is using information entropy. Here, information entropy here refers to how much information gain I can obtain over a particular event that has triggered over some Twitter or Facebook somewhere. So we are going to make use of this information entropy parameter to detect and to quantify how much the information is spreading during the disaster events. That is entropy based quantification method. So we have made use of this parameters like time interval entropy, user entropy, location entropy, and hashtag entropy. So these are all certain major features that will help to detect how far the information is disseminated over the web in Twitter or Facebook. So this information entropy will help us to quantify the average rate at which a particular information about the event is produced by the data source. So in this information entropy based framework, this framework is actually making use of Twitter streaming API to collect the tweet. So here we have made use of Twitter streaming API to cache the tweets, and these tweets have been processed that I have discussed earlier. So here we have introduced here this crowdsourcing corpus library. So this is the library which will have a collection of all the corpus that will helps us to detect the event, whether it is a crisis event, it will come under crisis events. So we have several set of keywords that will be helping us to detect on which category this particular disaster has been fall upon, like whether it is a landslide, whether it is a hurricane, whether it comes under certain flood. So all the corpus that is related to a disaster will be stored in this particular library. So whenever there is some match with the arriving tweet with any one of the corpus library element, it will be observed, and the data collection will get start initiated. So whenever we are collecting this particular data, we will first identify this burst corpus first. So which are the keywords that will help us to detect detect the crisis event, and we'll look upon the change point detection. Change point here detection is like there will be a sudden peak of usage of a same keyword repeatedly by most of the people from the same location regarding the same event. So such peak of activity, that abnormality of the usage of a same keyword can be detected using this change point detection. This is actually an algorithm that will help us to do that. And from that input, we will extract the location. The location can also be extracted from there. And from this stage, it will go into the location detection, and entropy based quantification will be carried out. So what this entropy based quantification will do is, whether from the hashtag, whether from the user or location, and all the parameters information source will be quantified, and based on the quantification we will confirm the event. And here behavioral homogeneity activity, this technique has been applied over here. What is the behavioral homogeneity means? Within a very short period of time, with people are being talking about, and they are posting about the same disaster event, the similarity between the homogeneity, the similarity between the users, and the similarity of keywords the people are using will be taken into consideration in order to detect the event more precisely. And here, when we are looking into this metadata features, here we are making use of text data, text entropy, location entropy, and then hashtag entropy. So how much information we are getting from each and every metadata will be taken into consideration in order to confirm the event. So once this particular event has been confirmed, it can be taken into the next visualization stage, like crisis mapping, like a geomap visualization, or like we can have it like some supporting disaster supporting center, where some query can be posted over there regarding a person, like finding a person, or the requirement for the people from certain areas where the people have been affected due to disasters. Such query based retrieval can also be done, and we can develop certain alert dashboards which will help to go for the response phase from the disaster. So the evaluation metrics that have been used during these in this research workers, we have used the keyword score and tweet score. So the main focus is on tweet. Tweet is going to be act as a single text, a line of text. Okay. So each and every keyword will have its weightage. So as I have discussed earlier, we have this crowdsourcing corpus libraries available over here. So this corpus library, every keyword will have certain value which will help us to know about to confirm the whether this particular event has happened or not, because there is a stage where the same tweet can fall under two or more events. So in order to confirm such in order to confirm during such situation, we will go for the tweet score also, because we cannot rely on single keyword and confirm an event. So we will collect more number of tweets, and we will confirm the similarity between the tweets, and if the tweet scores are having the highest similarity, then only the event can be confirmed. So with this the event detection the event detection can be detected with this event detection hit with the number of events detection success with the ratio of number of targets, that is supposed to be happening. And there is a possibility for false panic rate also, because we can't expect all the time in online social network only the public users are being handling. There is a possibility for bots also, because nowadays in most of the networking sites and they are trying to control the bots, but still there are certain drawbacks, like bots are being programmed in order to perform some post on the online social media. So there is a possibility for false panic rate also. We can't say whether this post has been posted by a human or a bot. So at that situations, we have to consider the false panic rates as well. So such bots also has to be identified in order to avoid some chaos between the public. Suddenly, if we are posting like earthquake in a particular place, but people are there, but they are not experiencing anything, but there is some bot which has been posting like that, means that is obviously a false panic rate. So such false panic rates has been observed using the number of false panic alarms to the number of non-targets. So such bots can be identified using this false panic rate. So when we are comparing this entropy based quantification method with certain state of art methods, it has been found that the clustering score and then even reduction hit and false panic rate, when we are considering this location and time, these two features has been taken, and later the location, time, and the content where which has been a tweet, the text also considered, and along with that, a strong evidence of any tweet can be determined using the hashtag. So that was the main focus that we have given during the in this implementation. So when we're considering the hashtag feature also, which has been included during this entropy based approach in order to determine the source of information, when they're including this hashtag feature along with this location, time, and content, so I can identify the event location if it is going to be the current time, and the content is also revealing the particular event. It is also a supporting evidence about the event. This hashtag, when people are making use of certain similar hashtag, then it is a strong evidence to determine and predict, and we can conclude this particular disaster event has happened, and this is like going on, like we can do the aggregation of it and we can keep on tracking them. So this information entropy approach is giving maximum event reduction hit up to 96% for 4 events that we have collected using Twitter. And there are certain crisis informatics. Currently, certain research methods have been going on around the globe. Some famous crisis informatics mapper. This is from Qatar Research Institute. That is artificial intelligence digital response, and then we have this uh, GIS Corps, and then Ushahidi is another very famous crisis informatics platform which help or most of the crisis or disaster, whatever the disasters that happens around the globe, everything will be recorded by them and they will keep on tracking. And if certain emergency management team is approaching these people, they will make use, they will help with their data in order to match the request and response. And standby task force is another famous crisis informatics with this humanitarian open street team, and then micro mappers. These are all some active research projects that has been currently in active stage regarding the disaster event for crisis informatics. And with this, I would like to conclude the webinar session with the event detection in social network is going to place a vital role because everyone has been connected through a stable internet connection in this era. So we can make use of this ICT tools in order to make certain quick response whenever some disasters has happened. It is not a fact like we have to look into a television, or we have to hear a radio, or we have to come up with some next day newspaper to know about a disaster, or to know about the event that has happened yesterday. Because we have been very well connected through the internet, and every minute we are getting the update about all the information that happens around the globe. This ICT tool can be used as a bridging factor. We can leverage this ICT tools, this online social network, and the people around the globe to get connected, to know about various events that has happened. And also we can connect this with emergency management groups for recovery of the disaster events also. So that people who are ready to volunteer, they are being on the line to connect with the people who are being to help the victims of the disaster. So this research work will help them in a form of ICT tool with humanitarian for a crisis mapping, based crisis mapping, in order to recover the people from disasters. So we have made use of several event detection algorithms that I have discussed here. Microblog DBScan algorithm, we got some better accuracy, and classifying the tweets is another vital thing that we need to know with this event detection. And then with this DBScan clustering algorithm gives better accuracy, and how much the information is getting spread around the globe during a disaster. That can be tracked using information entropy quantification method. Because even in nowadays, when we are looking into this COVID, it is actually an epidemic spread around the globe, right? So during this type of pandemic situations, how the disease is getting spread, and how it can be tracked, how the people are getting affected, from where they are getting the help. Everything we can manage it using this type of ICT tools in order to detect and track those peoples. That will be helpful. That is actually, it will come under epidemic intelligence. How the how an information is getting spreaded. In the same way, we can say how a disease is getting spreaded. That will be going as a separate research in a new research direction, like epidemic intelligence. That will help us to um, uh, go with this tracking phase. And with certain research directions that will help you, if you are being interested with this type of research, like event detection, you can go beyond the things that I have discussed. You can go with extraction of event, you can do the summary of event, and you can rank all the relevance that has happened in the event. And you can club certain different streams, like you can couple the different platforms together in order to get more information, and you can validate the information very effectively. And another important thing is language. Language is a very typical problem that we face here, because everyone will make use of local language or native language when they are tweeting or posting something in Facebook. So how such type of language based tracking can be done? Because we will be you making use of some languages in common, but people around somewhere in the globe, they are in need of something, and we need to um, make use of the language. Such support can be developed in order to identify the language support as well. So these are some interesting publications that during the research work regarding this event detection, you can if you're interested, you can go through certain research publications, like geotag microburging. And then for privacy, that is another important thing that we need to um, discuss, that we will have in future. And then these are certain references that you can look upon, which will help you to know about the disaster events. So with this, we'll take some questions Yes, sir. Yes, sir. With this, I think I have come to the 7 o'clock.
Yes, thank you so much, ma'am. Any question from student side? Can you please, students? I think there are a few PG students and UG students are there.
Ma'am, one
Yeah,
question.
please.
Yes.
Ma'am, if there is a new event, new disaster occurring, then it won't be able to detect that event, right? Because that will be a new Twitter, correct?
Yes. Yes.
Okay.
Actually, no, we can't say it like every event is a new event. For example, if we are looking into this pandemic, this COVID, this is a new event for everyone. What we are focusing over here is like a disaster event. So we can expect like even a natural disaster and human-made disaster, everything is going to be available in your linked open data. That's what I'm saying. Wikipedia is having all the information about all the disaster events in a hierarchy. So DBpedia is acting as a API that will club together like for example, if some hurricane, if hurricane is going to be the disaster that I'm going to topic of interest for detecting, all the information about the hurricane will be available in the linked open data. So it will be taken as a reference. So if you are posting something relevant to hurricane in some particular some location, so it will detect that event as hurricane, and the location can be detected from your algorithm uniquely. That is possible. So from the library of keywords that we have trained, it will detect. Even if it is a new event, you can train it over the period of time, and you can test it over there. That is possible.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Any questions from student side? Students? Okay, over to Wei Meng, sir.
Well, I was waiting for students to ask questions first.
Okay.
And so it's a nice work. I think you definitely have done a lot of work in this area.
Yeah, I'm getting one information. Hello, ma'am, from Akila. Akila, are you? Akila?
Hello, yes, sir. Can you hear me?
Yeah, please.
Yeah. Ma'am, I have a query. Like in the evaluation metric, you have mentioned about false panic rate, right?
Yes.
Ma'am, I just want to know how actually are you identifying that the tweet or the post is made by a bot, and how are you actually differentiating between the human post and the bot?
Actually, this false panic rate here, we are considering the bots, right? So how we can detect a bot is there is a pattern in whenever we are posting something in online. So as a human, we can't post some 500 or 600 posts in a very short duration of time. I'm saying a same person. Okay. So this is this time period and the number of users who are posting the same tweet repeatedly. Okay. If the same user is repeatedly posting some 500 to 600 or 1000, like it is a simple program, right? What is actually a simple program that will easily post some information repeatedly over the time with different pages or different groups of people. So the time interval and the number of posts, and then we have another important thing as verified users in all the online social networking pages. If the user is not verified, and if it behaves like repeatedly posting certain posts within a very short period of time, then it has been assumed it has been detected to be a bot. So that is the parameter that I have used in this in our implementation.
Thank you.
Yes.
Nice work. Thank you.
Yes, thank you.
Yes, any other questions, please? Students, from your side.
Hi, yeah, this is Wei Yiman. Nice work. As I said, this is you have clearly have done a lot of work in this area. And it's of a lot of interest I have also in this area. And so I wonder if you have tried to incorporate information from, let's say, some the government or like some organizational website that they monitor disasters. For example, there may be a earthquake center, which reports what earthquakes have happened, and so if you combine that information, and the information you collected from social media, then maybe you can do better prediction, right? Because you know that there is an organization that has sensors which monitors the earthquakes, and also some disasters can be forecasted, right? You have forecasts for them, like a hurricane, for example, right? So the weather channel already tells you, like there's going to be a hurricane of what category, even in what location during what time. So you can combine that information with the the information from social media. I think that I don't know if you have done that. I think that could be a make the model more accurate.
Yes, yes, absolutely, sir. So when we are collecting the data, we have been mainly focusing on Twitter because Twitter is providing the public API to grab the information. And additionally, we have made use of some benchmarking data sets which have been provided especially for this research for disaster, like Crisis LEX. It's actually a data providing a research community. From there, we have made use of most of our data because when we are when we are trying to grab some public data, there is several agreements and several formalities they are there in order to use some data from the crowd. So here we have been focusing mainly on Twitter, and then this benchmarking data sets that have been approved for research, especially for this disaster response, this crisis informatics we have made use of from Crisis Lex website. That is a data provider, so that its accuracy of our research work has been upgraded when we are getting some benchmarking data set. Because when we are looking into this Twitter, most of the tweets, if we are taking some thousand tweets, only 100 to 200 tweets are being considered to be valid tweets relevant to the particular event. All other tweets will be of noisy tweets, that is irrelevant to our research interest. So this benchmarking data sets helps us to um, um, uh, to go ahead with our research with this crisis leaks, so that accuracy has been improved.
Right. I mean, I understand. You are focusing on using the Twitter, social media data to do the prediction. I'm just suggesting that combining that information with additional external information that could help make the accuracy even higher.
Yes.
I do have a question about Twitter. You because this talk you talk about location prediction, and so now how many, like what percentage of like Twitter or tweets actually have like a geotag? Do you have that information?
Uh, yes, sir. Nearly only 6%. Actually, it was from a research study. It has been found only 6% of the entire Twitter tweets are being geotagged. So it
Okay.
is very, very minimal information about the location. That was the bottleneck in our research work. So instead of getting the user's location from their Twitter tweet, from their text that they are tweeting, we are trying to extract the location.
Right. There are actually like two types of locations you can think of for each tweet. One is the geotag, right? Like or like what location is mentioned in the tweet. that's one type of location. I think that's easier to extract
Yes,
because
yes.
right, directed from the text. Another is basically where the tweet was tweeted. Like when the person tweets tweet something, right? Where that person is. So a person may say, well, my house was shaking, did not mention any location, right? But if we know that person, it's posted this tweet from a particular location, then we can kind of derive, right, some useful information there. So I think there are two types of location information that are there for each tweet.
Yes,
How to detect them is actually a very challenging problem. We have tried to do some work there, but did not make much progress there. But it's a very challenging issue there. Finally, my last question is about summarization. You mentioned that. I think when you get to the event, for example, of course you should have location, right? You have the time duration. You should have the nature of the the disaster, right? And then and maybe some photos, what happened there, right? And some text. So how do you organize them? The result, right? From all those tweets, all those photos, how do you organize them into a nice summary? I think that can be a very interesting thing to do.
Yes. So like even summarization, what we have, what I can suggest is like we have this topic modeling algorithm is there, like LDA is there. So on what topic the particular event has been, it has been discussing about, and how we can summarize it. It's like we can go with sub-event detection, and we can link all the sub-events around the event. For example, an event, a disaster is predicted to happen. For example, we can say that hurricane is about to happen in a couple of hours, like that. So it is like preparedness stage will be there. So a caution will be there. So these are all the sub-events that actually happen, that is expected to happen during the entire disaster. So such sub-events can be separately, it can be identified, and we can link up all the sub-events, so that as an overview, we can have it like preparedness stages there, and we have alert all the people around that particular area. We are evacuating the people from that area, and that disaster has happened, and post preparedness has to be handled. So such sub events can be connected together as a summary. That is what I'm trying to say it as an event summarization in case of this event detection.
Yeah, that's very nice. All right, thank you. That's all right.
Thank you,
Questions I have.
Yes.
Ma'am,
Thank
one
you so
question.
much. Yeah, one more. Yeah, students, please.
Sorry to interrupt, sir.
Yeah.
So basically, how many tweets it would require to give an alert message, ma'am?
Yes,
Like-
it depends on. Usually we will when you're trying to pull some tweets from Twitter, we can collect around minimal 1,000 tweets. From there up to millions of tweets we can collect, because most of the many third party APIs, they have some certain legal agreement with most of the social networking sites like Twitter, Facebook. I have told you, right, AIDR, that is artificial intelligence for disaster response. It is actually working on Qatar Research Institute there. So they are actually having a legal agreement with most of the online social networking sites. They can stream the data from there, the public data, and even they can collect all the information about the events that has happened along the globe in order to confirm the event. So being a naive user, we have been like if you are a developer and if you are doing into some research, you need minimum 1,000 tweets that can be collected using any this third party API. Even using Twitter streaming API, you can collect. That will be a nominal tweets that will help you to detect any event. Yes.
Ma'am, it's like after 1,000 tweets, the system will be sure that the detection that it has been detected,
Yes,
and that's the location, right?
it depends upon the algorithm you are using. As I have told you before, what algorithm you are going to apply over your tweets to confirm an event, that is going to play a vital role. It is not like the system will detect automatically. As a developer, as a researcher, we have to develop some algorithms like classifying the tweet, clustering the tweets, quantifying the tweets. Then it will help you to detect the event. It is not some automation or some third party API is going to help us to do that. Here it is as a research, we have to develop certain algorithm to detect the event. Yes, using the 1,000 tweets as you have mentioned earlier.
Yes, Mahesh. Got it.
Okay, okay.
Okay, thank you, students, and then especially I thank our ma'am, right, Dr. Bhuvaneshwari, for
Thank you, sir.
wonderful, I can say, okay, speech, and especially I thank Dr. Weimin, who participated, and again I thank all our Hampton team members who really supported a lot. Okay, thank you, students. Again, our next section, Giant Webinar Series, next section on 31st March, 6:30 p.m. Dr. Bhargavi is going to give regarding clustering. Anyway, we will circulate all the details to all the students as well as the research scholars. Thank you all. Have a nice day. Thank you, Dr.
Thank
Meng.
you, sir.
Yeah,
Thank
thank
you,
you. Yeah,
Thank
Thank
you.
you so much.
Good
Take care.
evening.
Bye-bye.
Yeah, thank you. Good
Thank
night.
you, sir. Thank
Bye.
you, Meng, sir. Thank you, Ganesh, sir.
Okay, all right. Thank you. Goodbye.
Thank you all. Thank you all.